You think your Dolby Atmos soundbar is giving you 3D sound? Wait till you find out the 5 mistakes that are secretly killing your audio. You bought a Dolby Atmos soundbar, but doesn't sound cinematic? That's not your gear. It's the 5 mistakes almost everyone makes. Let's fix them right now so you actually get the Atmos you paid for. Before we start, hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because after this video, you'll never set up your soundbar the wrong way again. Five Dolby Atmos soundbar mistakes, 2025. You spent good money on a Dolby Atmos soundbar, but it still sounds flat, right? In this video, I'll show you the 5 biggest mistakes that quietly destroy your Atmos experience and how to fix them so your room finally feels like a real movie theater. Mistake number 1. Thinking every Dolby Atmos soundbar gives true Atmos sound. This is the most prevalent misperception of them all. A lot of people assume that if a soundbar has the Dolby Atmos logo on the packaging, it does that complete overhead bubble of sound that is the hallmark of actual Atmos. Most entry-level Atmos bars really just produce a virtual variant of the effect, not the actual physical one. This is where the difference lies. An authentic Atmos soundbar employs specialized upward-firing speakers that radiate sound towards your ceiling, where it reflects back down to produce height and vertical movement. That's how you achieve that sense of rain falling from above or helicopters passing by overhead. Lower end or smaller bars, though, bypass those drivers altogether. They rely on digital audio processing algorithms that simulate the same spatial cues. The sound will sound a little wider or deeper, but no actual vertical reflection is occurring. That is why so many first-time owners characterize their Atmos system as sounding flat. It's just not reproducing height layers at all. If you're serious about real Atmos immersion, the key is to check the channel configuration before buying. Look for notations like 5.1.2, 7.1.4, or 11.1.6. The final digits, the 0.2 or 0.4, represent the number of dedicated height channels. Models without those channels rely purely on virtual upmixing, which means you're only hearing a simulation. Another consideration is your ceiling height and surface. True Atmos reflection will work most effectively with flat, hard surfaces that are 7 to 12 feet high. Vaulted ceilings or acoustic tiles can absorb those overhead reflections and cut impact regardless of how good the soundbar happens to be. In brief, all Dolby Atmos soundbars aren't created equal. There are those that provide true 3D immersion, and those which only rely on sophisticated software wizardry. The error lies in thinking the logo by itself is assurance of the experience. When you shop, always check that the system includes physical up-firing drivers and a genuine multi-channel setup. That's what separates hearing sound around you and sensing it above you. Mistake number 2, poor room placement and setup. Even the latest, greatest Dolby Atmos soundbar will sound disappointing if it's set up in the wrong place in the room. That's one of the biggest silent killers of performance. Not due to the soundbar, but due to how the sound interacts with your space. Atmos technology is dependent on acoustic reflections. The side-firing drivers widen the soundstage by reflecting sound off the walls, while the upward-firing speakers reflect sound off your ceiling to simulate overhead sound. When the bar is installed too high, too low, or off-center, those reflections disorient and become distorted, flattening the whole surround field. The most common mistake is placing the soundbar inside a TV cabinet or under a deep shelf. While it may look tidy, that positioning blocks the side and height channels from properly dispersing sound. Instead, always place the bar in front of the TV at ear level when you're seated, with its top surface completely exposed. The upward drivers need an unobstructed path to the ceiling. Wall and furniture spacing is also equally critical. If your soundbar is placed too close to a sidewall, one channel overpowers the soundstage. If it is placed too far from both walls, side reflections are lost, and the surrounding illusion is gone. Ideally, keep approximately 2 to 3 feet of clearance between each side of the soundbar and surrounding walls. Subwoofer and rear speaker placement also have a giant impact. A subwoofer tucked behind a couch or in a corner might create unbalanced bass or unwanted boom. Position it in the open area alongside a wall, but not in a corner. That assists in producing a smoother, more balanced low-end response. 4 rear speakers. Position them at or above ear level and behind your seating position for most accurate directional sound. Finally, make use of auto calibration or room tuning functions if your soundbar supports them. Several 2025 to 2026 models, including Sony, Samsung, and LG, incorporate built-in microphones to monitor room acoustics and adjust output automatically. It's an easy process that makes a huge difference in terms of clarity and imaging. Therefore, the major take-home: Atmos isn't magic plug-and-play. You can have a $1,000 flagship bar, but if it's not in the right spot, you'll only be hearing a percentage of what it can do. Proper placement and calibration can quite literally double your surround quality impression, frequently far more than ever some software update or new model could. Mistake number 3. Ignoring source quality and audio settings. One of the most frequent errors people make with Dolby Atmos soundbars isn't hardware related. It's what they're putting into it in the first place. You might have a $1,000 Atmos setup, but if your source material or TV configurations aren't adjusted, you'll never experience genuine immersive sound. Many users plug in their new soundbar, stream something from Netflix, and expect it's automatically sending Dolby Atmos. But in most instances, it's not. Services like Netflix, Disney Plus, and Apple TV Plus only stream Atmos on certain subscription plans and only with compatible playback devices. Viewing through a plain TV app or an affordable streaming stick tends to cap you at Dolby Digital 5.1, which doesn't include the height and spatial cues that Atmos is famous for. And then there's the HDMI configuration. Most TVs have several HDMI inputs, but only one eARC, Enhanced Audio Return Channel, support, the one that can transmit full, uncompressed Dolby Atmos audio to your soundbar. If you connect your soundbar to the incorrect HDMI input, you will receive a downgraded, compressed audio signal. Always connect your TV and a certified high-speed HDMI 2.1 cable for complete bandwidth transmission. Another detail that is commonly neglected is the audio output format in the sound settings of your TV. Most TVs have PCM or simple stereo output as default, which entirely bypasses surround processing. You must choose to manually select Bitstream or Dolby Atmos from the audio settings menu. This allows the soundbar to receive the encoded signal it can decode and expand to a 3D sound field. Quality of content is also important. Not every Atmos label is equal. Some films or television shows are only lightly blended for Atmos, with barely perceptible height effects rather than complete 360 degrees immersion. For testing and demonstrations, employ actual Atmos reference clips on Blu-ray players, Apple TV 4K, or Xbox Series X, sources that provide full bandwidth audio tracks. Also guilty of doing this are music enthusiasts who stream low-quality Bluetooth audio. Although convenient, Bluetooth compresses the audio signal. Instead, stream via Wi-Fi using AirPlay 2, Chromecast, or a native music app that supports Dolby Atmos music, such as Apple Music or Tidal Hi-Fi Plus. The bottom line: Dolby Atmos performance isn't just about your soundbar's power or price tag. It's about how well your devices communicate. When the source, settings, and soundbar are properly aligned, the difference is night and day. Sound becomes wider, taller, and infinitely more detailed. Ignore those steps, and you're leaving 60% of your sound quality unheard. Mistake number 4. Overlooking room calibration and updates. Even top-of-the-line Dolby Atmos soundbars may sound boomy, flat, or unbalanced if they're not correctly configured for the room. One of the biggest pitfalls average shoppers fall into: unpacking a high-end system, plugging it in, and thinking it's delivering at its best straight out of the box. The reality is, room acoustics can ruin your Atmos experience. Each room is unique. Hard walls, irregular ceilings, open spaces, and even furniture arrangement influence the way sound waves bounce and reflect. Dolby Atmos uses those reflections heavily, particularly for height and surround effects. If your soundbar isn't tuned to your room's unique shape and dimensions, you could lose half the immersive detail that the engineers built in. Most contemporary Atmos soundbars from Samsung, Sony, LG, Sonos, and JBL have room calibration features integrated. These systems rely on internal microphones or companion apps to sense the acoustics of your room, identify reflections, and adjust each channel accordingly. Omitting this process tends to result in distant dialogue, unbalanced bass, or misdirected height effects. For instance, Sony's 360 spatial sound mapping or Samsung's SpaceFit Sound Pro can effectively transform clarity and directionality if properly calibrated. And many users never even open those menus. Calibration will take a few minutes, but the payoff will feel like replacing your soundbar altogether. Cleaner mids, clearer highs, and tighter vertical imaging. Another underserved area is firmware upgrades. Companies are always publishing updates that address latency issues, enhance Dolby Atmos decoding, or even optimize room tuning algorithms. Many users don't do these, thinking updates are irrelevant to audio equipment. But soundbars nowadays are basically smart devices. Their processors and tuning software are just as much as an OS in a TV as yours. If your soundbar is connected to Wi-Fi, update regularly via the companion app or settings menu. Some brands such as Sonos and JBL even roll out performance updates quietly in the background, but others need manual acceptance. Missing a single update may equate to missing out on improved sound balance or enhanced HDMI compatibility. In brief, updates and calibration are not optional procedures. They're included in receiving the performance you paid for. Spending 10 minutes running auto calibration and applying the new firmware can totally transform how your soundbar works, particularly for Dolby Atmos systems that rely on flawless synchronization and timing. If your sound is not right, such as the dialogue is underground or overhead effects aren't believable, don't be quick to blame the hardware. Begin with calibration and firmware updates. In most cases, that's all it will take to unleash the soundbar's full cinematic potential. Mistake number 5. Expecting Atmos without proper speaker placement or content. One of the most common misconceptions about Dolby Atmos soundbars is that you'll automatically get that 3D sound experience just by turning it on. Many new buyers are disappointed when they don't hear the sound from above or feel the wraparound immersion they expected. But in reality, Dolby Atmos isn't magic. It depends on both proper speaker placement and actual Atmos content to work as intended. Let's begin with placement. Dolby Atmos soundbars typically use up-firing speakers to produce height effects by reflecting sound from the ceiling. For that to be effective, your ceiling must be flat, between 7 and 12 feet high, and constructed of a reflective surface, such as drywall or plaster. If your ceiling is vaulted, too high, or textured, sound's upward beams won't reflect properly, so the overhead dome effect just won't occur. That's not a fault in the soundbar, it's physics. Another configuration error is packing the soundbar into a cabinet or TV stand. When you cover the top or sides of the unit, you're actually blocking the Atmos speakers and beam drivers from reflecting correctly. These soundbars breathe, use open air and wall reflections to create space. For optimal performance, position your soundbar right against the front lip of your TV stand, with some clear space on the sides and nothing on top. And then there's the content problem, and this one's a biggie. Not everything marketed as Dolby Atmos actually provides an Atmos mix. Most streaming services dynamically compress or downmix Atmos audio based on your plan or device. For instance, Netflix and Disney Plus demand a premium subscription and a 4K HDR player with Atmos pass-through support over HDMI eARC. If you're watching regular HD or from a TV app that doesn't deliver Atmos output in full, you may only receive stereo or 5.1 surround, although the soundbar will claim Atmos on the box. In order to enjoy Dolby Atmos in full, ensure your source chain delivers it end-to-end. That is, a TV or streaming box capable of outputting Atmos through HDMI ARC, a streaming subscription or Blu-ray disc with an actual Dolby Atmos audio track, and, naturally, a soundbar properly calibrated and positioned for your room. When all three are in harmony, the difference is like night and day. Sounds rise, shift, and envelop you. You can identify rain overhead, vehicles driving alongside you, or aircraft flying above you. But without that foundation, your Atmos system is merely scratching the surface of what it's capable of. So before you assume your soundbar doesn't support true Atmos, check your setup, placement, and source again. When you get those three variables in line, even a mid-range system can provide jaw-dropping realism that competes with purpose-built theater rigs. The trick is realizing Dolby Atmos is a system, not a feature. And when implemented correctly, it turns sound into something irreplaceable. Final outro plus channel CTA. And there you have it. The 5 largest Dolby Atmos soundbar errors most everyone makes without even knowing it. Each one can silently restrict your system's performance, making even the highest-end soundbar sound flat, lifeless, or underwhelming. But once you address these, your setup will open up to its full potential. Richer detail, deeper bass, cleaner dialogue, and a sense of space that finally feels like a real home theater. Keep in mind, Dolby Atmos has nothing to do with breaking the bank. It has to do with putting what you already own to use correctly. A $500 system can sound stunning if it is correctly placed, adjusted, and teamed with the right material. That's the difference between decent sound and genuine cinematic experience. If you found this guide useful, do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, because here at Interface Craft, we demystify home audio the way it must be. Real performance, real tests, and real results. And if you do want to level up your sound game, go check out my channel after this video and look through my newest deep dive reviews of 2020 SXS top Dolby Atmos soundbars and wireless home theater systems. You'll get actual comparisons, actual setups, and real-world tests. No nonsense, just plain results that enable you to shop smarter and sound better. I'm Sound King of Interface Craft, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay real, keep it immersive, and get tuned for the future until then.